Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. We have a few more questions about sadhus and initiations and relationships between gurus and disciples. So here's a question from Nandama. Namaste, Nandama. Thank you very much for all your help. What are the ideal qualities of your ideal student or shishya? Wow.
We gave already a list.
Mother already gave you a list of 30 qualities that you would want to have. I would like to emphasize sincerity. I would like to suggest that there should be longevity to the intensity of commitment. A real commitment, not a tourist, not passers-by, but a real commitment to digging deep and learning. I would like to say there's an open line of communication. The disciple longs to communicate with the guru. The guru longs to communicate with the disciple. If I have an appointment with you at 6 o'clock, you better believe I'll be here at 10 till. And I'll walk around the room until it's time for the appointment, but I'm looking forward to sharing with you. And I assume and hope and pray that my ideal shish would want to look forward to sharing with me and communicating with me. I would like industrious individuals, people who are not afraid to take responsibility, and that are reliable and have a total commitment. I can rely on their commitment. I can rely on their friendship. I can rely on the sincerity of their love. Those are some of the ideal qualities. But best, you go to our website, Mama has a list of 30 qualities. That's the ideal of a human being. If you're a human being, a real manush, jisko mon ka hush karte hai, is who has controlled the mind. Mon means mind. Hush means has harnessed. Controlled the mind. That is manush. That is what we define as human beings. And all the other would-be humans roaming around and wandering from this commitment to that commitment and that commitment to this commitment, they haven't yet understood the depths of what it means to make commitment, and so they're not really in alignment with the goals of being a shish. What kind of questions are you hoping that we ask? I would hope that you ask the questions that will change your lives. I'm hoping that you'll ask the questions when you learn the answer, you hear my opinion or Mother's opinion about the answer to your question. It'll really make an effect on you. It'll have the effect of change, and it'll bring that change, real change in your lives. Because absolutely, I believe that all of us are here in this relationship because we are not satisfied with our lives. We want something more. And that something more I want to give you. And those are the questions that we want to answer. The questions that will really inspire all of us to make a change. What are we not asking you? You asked a lot of questions. Let's go ahead and edit our book together, and then we'll see what's missing. Right now, off the top of my head, I can't think of what you're not asking. If you asked it, then I would understand. Here's a question from Vish. Namaste. Can the guru take our karmas and help us grow? Absolutely. How is this done? Well, look, Vish, if you're listening to the answer to this question, you're not thinking about your karma. Where did it go? I took it. I took it and I replaced it with my karma, which is the attitude of gratitude, to be in the presence of someone divine, to be thinking about knowledge, to be thinking about spirituality, to be thinking about God and the practices that will take us to get to God. Now, suddenly, you came into association with a guru, and she took the karma away from you. You're not thinking about it right now. It's not yours. You don't even own that karma. You own this karma. You're taking on her karma. The stronger the dominant in the relationship is causing the shisha to take the qualities of the example. Just like we all take the qualities of everyone that we associate with. And because we understand that, it behooves us to be extremely discriminating about with whom we wish to associate. Example given, the wind blows across the pond. Well, the wind's dominant character is ripples, movement. And the water moves. It makes ripples across the pond. And the pond's dominant character is coolness. The coolness of the water cools the air. So each is assuming the characteristics of the other. So be very careful about with whom you wish to associate. And in this way, we are taking your karmas and causing you to grow. And that's the way it's done. The more you think about her agenda, the less you have to contemplate your own desires and attachments and all the other stuff that keeps you bound to worldliness. The more you replace your karma with her karma, the more free you become. And that's how it works. Here's another question from Vish. I was only away several days from you, Swami, and I felt a deep longing for you. Why was this? Well, probably I'm getting to be a habit with you. It's the nature of attachment. You didn't like what you attached yourself to before. You do like what we are attached to, and when you are in association with us, you seem to attach yourself to the things that you like. Rather than the gadas, you attach yourself to the wanas. And you rather than the responsibilities and obligations, you pick up the privileges and the opportunities. And that makes you feel free. That's what it's about. Leaving all those obligations, leaving all those responsibilities, put them down, the burdens. Life is not about shouldering the burden and lifting the responsibility. Put that down. And pick up the opportunity. Enjoy the privilege. You're going to do the same karma whether you like it or not. You will enjoy the fruits of your karma. So you might as well like it. As long as you got to do it with a good attitude and a good bob and efficiently and with sincerity and get it done once, first, the right way, the right time, the right amount, get it done so you don't have to go back and do it again. Every mistake that we make is a lapse of attention. When we are paying attention, we are free from mistakes. When I don't want to do this and I got to do it, I'm obligated to do it, and I'm responsible for it, then I've got one mind thinking about what I want to do and one mind thinking about what I got to do, and the gadas and the wanas never come together. So the objective will be to say, wow, this is not a problem. This is an opportunity to select the right solution. This is not a burden or an obligation. This is a privilege in order to demonstrate the sincerity of our devotion. And that will be our mantra. what a privilege it is to serve God by doing everything she wants me to do. Here's a question from Rami Mami. Namaste, Rami Mami. Namaste, Srini Baba. If we have a jop sankalpa that is across many days, do we say sankalpa each time we sit down? If you want. Or you could say it once for the entire process and then just sit down and do your job. But every time you sit down, you need to do achman and asan shuddhi. You need to wash your hands, you need to wash your lips, you need to purify your asan every time.
Sankalpa is good. It's a good mushla.
Sankalpa is good. No one said it wasn't good. But if you have limited time, you have one sankalpa over many days, then you may omit the sankalpa and the sankalpa shukta and the swasti shanti vachan, and you can just start your job. And do we do dhyan and nyas of the deity before each job? If you like. This is all your sankalpa. Rami, I will not attempt to legislate your sankalpa for you. You make your sankalpa your way. It's your relationship with God. It's your relationship with Guru. There are no wrongs. There are no, I gotta do it this way. It's your love affair. And I want you to be in love. So do it your way. There's no wrong. Please get that out of your systems, all of you. I get so many questions. Is it wrong to do it this way? No, it's not wrong. It's wrong not to do it. That's the only wrong, is to omit the practice. If you skip practice, that's wrong. But if you do practice and you do it to the best of your ability, it's right. No matter how many mistakes, aparada sahasrani. Tat sarvam shamyatam devi. Prasidha parameshwari. I commit thousands of mistakes. All of that. Tat sarvam shamyatam devi. You please forgive it, O Goddess. May you be so gracious. I know I'm going to blow it. The object isn't not to blow it. The object is every time you make the mistake, to get up again and say, sorry, here, let's try it again. So it's not wrong. You don't need to do it this way. You don't need to do it that way. Do it your way, as close as you can come to the scripture, as close as you can come to the customs, as close as you can come to what you have seen your own guru do. That's what you should do. Here's a question from Ambika. Namaste, Ambika. Namaste, Sham. Namaste, Swamiji. Last night in class, you spoke of how we should treat our spiritual objects with respect. Yes, absolutely. Shri, Shaw means peace. Shanti. Ra means your mind. E means your heart. Shri is the wealth. Shri is respect. When you regard anyone or anything with peace in your mind and peace in your heart, you have the wealth. You are showing respect. Would you please discuss with us the balance between being respectful and giving great care to our belongings while remaining unattached to them? Yes, you can be respectful without attachment. You could be respectful to everybody, and then you would regard everyone the same, and then you would not be called prejudiced or biased or attached. Just love life. Just respect your actions. Just respect all your tools. And if they go away, then I will acknowledge the loss and hope that they went to a better situation, or that they evolved in their path. If my mala breaks and I can't replace it or repair it, it's time to say namaste, Mr. Mala, make me sergeant. If my beloved possessions flee from me. Look, there are three dispositions of any possession, anything. Enjoyment, gift, or destruction. Everything we have, we'll enjoy it. And after we've enjoyed it, it will either go away of its own accord, destruction, or we'll give it away. So we know that those are the three statuses of every object in the universe. Now, when something goes from me, it's not an occasion to mourn. It's an occasion to acknowledge how privileged I was to have had that relationship in my life, whether it be a relationship with a person or a thing or an object or a mala or a tool or something that is a religious symbol to me. I want to acknowledge it and appreciate it, demonstrate my respect for it, and let it go. And now I'm going to figure out, do I need to replace it, or do I don't need that object anymore? Or do I need something else? Or have I evolved to the next step? Or how has my life changed? Now that that object is gone, was that a necessary implement? I better get another one and put it back in my tool chest. If it was not a necessary implement, I want to acknowledge it. If it was a wonderful relationship, thank you for empowering me to be who I am here now, today. And the best way to demonstrate my respect to those who have empowered me is to take that empowerment and pass it on and empower others and use that knowledge for the benefit of others. So I think we can show respect and not with attachment or sorrow, but attachment with appreciation and joy. In the sense that, hey, that relationship in my life has amplified my life. It has enhanced me. And I want to say thank you for having enhanced me. And the way I say thank you to you is by turning around and saying, here it is for you. So when I have to repay my debt of karma, I got this wisdom from my guru, I want to pass it on to the next generation. I don't know that that indicates attachment. Nanda, as far as I can see, that completes our questions about initiations, about gurus, and about sadhus. Do you have any other questions? Namaste. Namaste, Rob.
What do we do when we want to give the most but aren't sure what the most is? For instance, I had a student come to me asking if I could keep the school open longer so she could get more work done. And I refused because it was late and I didn't want to get to bed late so I could keep my morning sadhana on schedule. I felt guilt because of this, and I would have felt guilt if I would have started my morning sadhana late. Is guilt useful?
No, guilt is not useful, but it comes to us when we have a conflict of values. And absolutely, you had a very, very wonderful request from that student, and you made the election that your time with God would empower you to give more to more students than standing there and waiting for the student to complete her extra work. So it was a value judgment, and it's not necessary to be guilty or feel yourself guilty, but when you want to give the most, you have to say, determine what are your parameters. What constitutes the most? The most for whom? The most for the many or the most for the one? And sometimes it's necessary to forego the interests of the many in order to enhance the one. And other times it's really not necessary. It's been the best interest, and you're going to have to judge and use your discrimination every day, Rob. I'm sorry, there is no one answer. But on a case-by-case basis, guilt is not the answer. I did this and I don't feel good about it. But I made that determination that I would have more power to share more things with more people if I denied the individual's request. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was just an election. It was a determination. You put it through the criteria and your discrimination elected to give more energy to more people by pursuing your spiritual life and obeying the rules than it would be if you had bent the rules to accommodate this one student and not empowered yourself. So sometimes you have to look at things very judiciously. This is the fact of life, the fact of discrimination. And we will be confronted with these issues daily all through life. There is no exemption. I'm sorry, but guilt is not the answer. Nanda?
That completes the questions on the 16 initiations of a sadhu.
Very good. Well, I would like to start a new subject then. We're going to talk about new and modern and unscripturalized rites of passage. These are rites of passage that were not conceived in the Vedas, and they were not written about in the Vedas. So the first one is a question about what puja can be done for a new car. And obviously, you know, in the Vedic time, they didn't have any concept of going to your nearby car lot and picking up a new car and driving it home. What would you do? And obviously, what you'll do, well, what we do is we wash the car. We do abhishek with the vishesh orgya, with the conch shell water, and we sprinkle the water and the tulsi leaves and the flowers, and we give the car a complete abhishek. And then we walk around the car with incense. We walk around the car with a light. We put flowers over the car, and we sing Ganesh's mantra and sprinkle water on the tires. Some people in America kick the tires. We sprinkle water on them and put flowers on them. So we invoke especially Ganesh Puja, Vidya Rambe, Vibhakicha Prabeshe, Nirgame Tata, Sangrame Sankate Cheva, Vignastasya Najayate. When we're starting something new, when we're learning something new, when we're commencing a new relationship, when we're entering into the door, the first time you open the door, and you go inside, you put flowers there, you make an altar there, establish a deity there. You've seen all the Tata trucks in India. I mean, they look like floating temples. They have big deities on the dashboard, and they have them all painted up with mantras on the sideboards. Now that's a truck. And every car, even if it's a Toyota or a Hyundai, it's got a mother puts a little Ganesh on the dashboard of every car we drive. So in this way, you will invite the car into the family. The car is a member of the family. Gari, Nari, Bari. There are 3 marriages everyone has. One with a car, one with a spouse, and one with your house. So this is an important rite of passage. You'll have the car will be received into the family as a member of the family. There's a famous song, Gari Bari Nari Dil Kabimari, and that's what paints your heart. Either your car won't run, your house is destroyed, or you got problems with your spouse, and that's the only pain you have in the heart. We have a question here about taking up a new job. What should our attitude be towards our work and our workplace? As much as you can, make it divine. If you have a cubicle, I don't think you want to put centerfolds all around it. I think you'd want to put just some place where there's a reminder, a little altar, a little symbol, not necessarily the Lakshmi that sits on the cash pots of a Gujarati grocery store, but a little deity there on your desk, just to say, hey, I'm doing God's work. And you can look at it every now and then and do God's work. And when you go in the morning, you could say a prayer and be quiet and still, just for a moment. And when during the day, you're allowed to close your eyes and say your mantra and diffuse the pressure that comes from you. You might want to bring a flower and put a flower next to your deity. You might make your attitude towards your workplace will be an attitude of gratitude. It's providing you sustenance. You want to do the best job you can. You get the privilege of serving your family and serving your friends by performing a service through this company to the world. So that would be a fun attitude. What should our attitude be towards our boss? Could you make your boss a guru? Or at least an upaguru. And I don't mean you go in and bow down and touch her toes, but go in and with great respect, try to learn her process and try to learn her feelings and try to get the greater vision other than just your one department, your one area of responsibility. So try to cultivate a relationship with your boss and try to learn and regard your boss as a teacher, as an instructor. You'll have a lot more fun. You'll have a lot better relationship. You'll have a greater understanding. It will empower you to do your work more efficiently. What should our attitude be towards our subordinates? Well, people who work for us are really our partners. They're joint venture partners. They are empowering us to complete our functions. We are gathering many different elements or pieces of our project from different suppliers. They are contractors. They are co-workers. It's not like I'm in a position of authority, I'm giving you orders. I'm requesting you. I'm requesting you to please share with me and according to your understanding and try to gain greater understanding so that we could work together more efficiently. It'll be a lot more fun for all of us. The company will make more money. We'll make more money. Our customers will be satisfied. We'll have a good time working with each other instead of competing and making friction and planting roadblocks in each other's way. We'll be cooperating and making a harmony so that work won't be a strain. It won't be a stress. Let's diffuse the disharmony and replenish it with harmony. How should we respect our work? Pay attention. Can you give any suggestions as to how you get things done at the ashram? I don't. But in the ashram, we try to inspire, constantly reinforce the spirit of teamwork, that we are working together to amplify our goal as a family. And that means we want to make everyone partners in the amplification. You're all invited to be joint venture partners. We've got a project to sweep the floor. Everybody grab a broom and we'll all sweep together. We've got a project to cook the food there. You cut, you clean, you fry, you boil. We'll all get it done together. We have a project to build the temple. You hammer, you nail, you saw, you measure. You take responsibility and tell us what to do. In every work, we're trying to empower each other to do the best we possibly can so we can work together and it'll be a labor of love. And if it's not a labor of love, I bet you it'll be really difficult to find volunteers to join. As long as it's a labor of love, everybody wants to participate. You ask the guys who built the temples. They wanted to build it because it was a labor of love. And if we were out there throwing tomatoes at them and hurling insults and shouting at them and making them march, and we had one contractor who came out here and wanted to shout orders, and he lasted about 2 weeks, and then we asked him to please leave. It can't be that way. So your attitude towards your work and how we get things down in the ashram. I always thought if you could get things done in an ashram, which is non-profit, just think what you could do if you could pay the people. If you had that same amount of love and you paid them, there isn't anything that your company couldn't accomplish. To be able to give importance to sadhana, should we aim for a job that we can work 8 hours or more, challenging and rewarding work that involves late hours? Well, you know what? There are 2 theories. The one theory is that you would want to work an 8-hour day and come home and know that you're done for the day. And then there's the other theory that I'm going to do the very best I can to demonstrate my creativity and to produce the most I can for my company, and my company will certainly want to reward me. If I have a good employee or a good participant or someone who's working hard for me, I'm not going to let them go. And your company is exactly the same. There is no company that is not like that. If you are loving, if you're generous, if you're kind, if you're full of spirit, if you're full of enthusiasm and you're deficient in your job, I'm going to pay you whatever it takes to keep you here doing that job for me. Whatever it takes. And if you come out to the ashram and sit in the kitchen and talk about enlightenment, I'm going to count the hours until you're going to leave. But if you come out here and you start working and you work with me, you work with Ma, you work with all the people here, you do projects, you can see what's new, you've got a good attitude, you got a light in your eyes, you've got a light, you love in your heart, I'm going to keep you here if it takes a ball and a chain to do it. I'm going to bind you in so many ways, I'll give you whatever it takes to keep you here. And I bet every boss in every company feels the same way. So you could do that. You could have that attitude and grow right out of your job. And you'd grow into spiritual life. And you'd find that you're qualified very, very soon to have a 4-hour work week, was the name of the book. So it's up to you. Every one of us has to make a decision, a choice. Do I want to rent my body by the clock and punch a time clock and put in my time card and get my pay for the hours that I spent? Or do I want to give the most and be the most creative and the most inspired and the most productive, and then take that energy and let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. Here's a question from Rami Mami. Should our vocation or calling be our job? No! No! No, Rami. Your vocation is not a job. It's your calling. It's what you're going to do whether you get paid or not. I don't get paid to write books, or I don't get paid to run an ashram, or to do the sadhana that I do. I'm going to do that whether it's not a job for me. Sometimes it becomes a job. But most of the time, it's what I do. It's what I want to do. It's what I'm going to do whether I'm doing it here or in India or in the Himalayas or in a cave. It doesn't make any difference. I'm going to do it. If we do not get financial remuneration, should we still work from our heart, be a starving artist? Absolutely. But you should do something else to get financial remuneration as well. Or should we try to make a little money with a day job and do art at night? Yeah, I would think that would be more appropriate. You should have some sustenance so that you're never a burden to others. And if Srini doesn't mind, if Srini doesn't consider you to be a burden, then maybe your puja will be your art, and that could be a full-time job, and you could start and expand and enhance your satsang in Bangalore. So it's up to you both, how you decide. I'm not saying that you need to have a job separate from Srini's job in order to justify your doing puja all day. But definitely I'm thinking that if someone's going to work in a profession, it's a profession that they love, they know, they studied, it's an intimate relationship between the practitioner and their subject matter, then it's fun. And you will get paid for it. If you can communicate, if you have the capacity to communicate your love for your subject, you will know the nuances and you can share that and empower others and thereby derive an income, I hope. Here's a question about retirement. Please give suggestions for financial freedom. How can we plan for retirement? First of all, you got to make a plan. Figure out what the end game looks like. What does it look like for you to be as a vanaprastha? And how much money will you need if you live modestly? And how much money will you need if you live lavishly? And which would you prefer? I know people who want to live lavishly, and they are not satisfied with the amount of money that they have. Ever. I know people who want to live modestly, and they are not bound by money. In fact, I went to Rishikesh a few months ago and sat under a tree and had the time of my life. It wasn't very expensive at all. So it would be very important for you to plan. What does the picture look like in retirement? How many of there are you? How much money will it cost to live on the standard of living that you choose to live? And what do you want to do? And how much is it going to cost? And how will you meet those expenses? Then you can determine about retirement. What kind of retirement do you want to have? Do you want to do pujas every day? Or do you want to go dancing every night? Do you want to go to the movies every day? Or do you want to... You'll have to determine that for yourselves. Is it a spiritual retirement? Is it a religious retirement? There are many, many ways of making it work. Even here in America. But especially in India. There are just so many places and spaces and mindsets that you can go to where your knowledge and experience will be regarded and valued, and you can still have time for a spiritual life. Here's a question about menopause. Ambika asks, even though there is no sanskara for the time in a woman's life when her period stops, Is there an attitude that a woman should take as she enters that time of her life? Yes, there is.
You can say.
How come I can say? Because, I can say, I am qualified to speak on this subject. And I'm qualified because of my capacity of empathy. In the same way that I can describe to you from the inside what is what the prenatal sanskaras are like, and what the pregnancy sanskaras are like, and what it's like to raise children, even though all my kids are over 50. In the same way, I can tell you that there is an attitude. And what I would suggest is that as you have been growing in your spiritual evolution all these years, by the time you reach menopause and the post-menopause period, then you've got puja as a way of life. And here is an opportunity for you to enhance that puja, increase that puja, and make that puja bigger and brighter and better and more pronounced to the extent of your capacity. So that is an attitude that you're so free from so many things. It is a tremendous freedom. To be free from sexual impulse, to be free from being preyed upon, to be free from social games, to be free from all those thoughts and all those reflections that go through anyone's mind, male or female, in their younger years. To be free from that and to be able to commit yourself and dedicate yourself, consecrate yourself to the fact of worship, to the art of worship, to the bhavana of worship, to be able to grok that bhavana of worship and to feel that attitude. And I would think that's a wonderful opportunity as a woman enters in this stage of life. Here's a question that we asked about dealing with lawsuits. And I hope you live your lives in such ways that you can resolve all confrontations without resorting to the court system. The legal system is really a lose-lose. It's a zero-sum game. I'm sorry, I have my training in a little bit in that background. And the lawyers are the only ones who are going to make out very nicely. It's find a way to compromise and find a way to arbitrate and find a way to make something that works for everybody to the extent of your capacity. And now let's ask the questions. Are there any pujas that can be done by those facing a court battle? I usually do Kali puja and Shiva puja. I do Kali to give away to take away the darkness, and I do Shiva puja to empower all the participants to go in and do their very best. On the date of the interviews or the interlocutors or the depositions or the court hearings, I would suggest you do Saraswati puja for good communication. Are there any astrological remedies to ward off unnecessary battle with law or legal suits? Most important is the intellectual understanding to live your life in such a way that you don't get involved in legal lawsuits. I know there will be times where, unfortunately, extenuating circumstances prevail, and you become involved. And if you become involved, then all you can do is pray. It's not about the astrology. It's not about the stars. It's just about what foolishness got into my mind and clouded my judgment that I can't resolve an issue on my own. Now, if one of my children has to get into trouble with the law, or get into trouble, break the law, or go to get arrested, or pay the fine, make amends, do whatever you can to diffuse the situation, and pray that our children get the lesson and can move back into spiritual harmony. Dealing with the law is not going to bring any benefit to anyone in the family. Dealing with health issues. Are there any pujas that can be done by those facing surgeries, invasive procedures? We always do Gayatri and Trambakam, Maham Mrityunjoy, that jop. You can also do Kali Puja, she will take away the darkness. You can also do Vishnu Puja, he is a protector. You can also, try to maintain a balance and a harmony. Try to maintain your balance. Keep your mind in japa and tapa as you go to the operating theater. You wake up as you can and do japa and tapa, and keep yourself in your center. I know health will come and call and knock on the door and say, please pay attention to your body. Pay attention only insofar as it is necessary to keep your body strong enough to keep doing the puja. You see, Shree Maa is beset by a number of diseases that continually attack her, and all she wants to do is rub her beads. She stays in the center, in the japa, in the tapa, regardless of what the body is saying. I don't feel good, I don't want this, I don't want that. She remains in the harmony of spiritual growth. Dan is asking, Namaste Dan, Swamiji, are there any supplements or herbs or Ayurvedic medicines that you or Ma take? Dan, when I was a young brahmachari, my guru gave me Brahmi leaves to chew on. The leaves of the Brahmi plant. And I wrote about it extensively. I thought it was so amazing what happened to me. I found my capacity of retention was growing exponentially. I could read once and I'd memorize a mantra. I was studying the Rig Veda, they called me the Vedic Swami. I could suck it in, and as I grew and I grew and I grew, I loved the effect that came from eating the fresh Brahmi leaves.
Yeah.
Becoming a grandparent. Nanda, what are the duties of a grandparent? I would suggest the guru to be an example of the highest ideals of perfection. You want to nurture your grandchildren with love and affection and spoil them rotten, but in addition, you want to show them that you're leading a religious life, you're really leading a pure life, you're dedicated, you're consecrating your actions to God. I think that would be the highest duty. And when you make out your will and you bequeath to the next generations the wealth that you've acquired, make sure you put wisdom in there, and you put love in there, and you put sincerity in there, and you put commitment in there. I would think that would be the greatest bequest that the grandparents could leave to their offspring. Here's a question about divorce. Some of us do go through this unfortunate phase. Please suggest any astrological remedies to ward off this phase. No, I will not. But I would suggest the first thing you want to do is to avoid it at all costs. It ain't fun. Not doing it, not after it's done. It's never done, especially if you got kids. It's going to go on and on and on. Just find a way to compromise and find a way to reignite that love that you had the day you got married in the first place. That's my first suggestion. I know many of you will rebel against that. So now, what else can you do when you go through this unfortunate phase? Unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, we've got to find a center and realize that the circumstances of life are changing all around us and we are still the same. Now, don't make the same mistakes and go out and marry the same partner that you just left. And don't try to get a relationship immediately because I don't like being alone, so I'm going to go out and find another schlub and get married with him. Use your experience to guide your actions, to cultivate this discrimination, to give you the criteria. What plan do I want to make for my life? Where do I want to go? How do I want to get there? What should it be about? Make your plan for life. Use it as an opportunity. Don't say, my plan is to get divorced and then I'll think about what I want to do. Think, hey, now before we're going to get divorced, let me figure out where it is I'm trying to get to and how I'm going to go about it and what will be the best, in the best interest of everyone concerned to get me there. Those will be the criteria. Those will be the best things that we can do. What suggestions do you have on coping with this phase? The best suggestion I would suggest, Hatha Yoga is very, very important. Put your body back in harmony. I know you've gotten out of harmony. We've all gotten out of balance. Put your body back in harmony first. Second thing, once you get your body back in harmony, try to meditate. Don't keep dwelling on that. The thoughts of how injured you become because of the separation. Just try to put your body, focus yourself back into your spiritual practices. Make an altar, make God in the living room, make God in the center of your life, and try to cultivate the relationship with godliness. Here's a question about celebrating 60 years and 80 years of age, a South Indian custom, or a silver and golden anniversary. These are Western traditions. And I don't know if it's 60 and 80 or 50 and 90, but please suggest pujas to celebrate one's age, whether it's a first birthday. Well, we already talked about the birth ceremony, the Jata Karma. How do we celebrate the Jata Karma? You know, people in India, when they get a birthday, they usually fast and give presents to all who are near and dear them. Of course, here in the West, we'd say, oh, it's my day, so I'm going to feast, and everybody's going to give me presents. So in the West, it's a little more narcissistic, and it says, I am the center, and I should be acknowledged because today is my day. And in the East, it says, today is my day, I get to be the giver. I get to be the giver, and I'm going to fast, and I'm going to prepare a party for my friends and my family. So, birthdays, anniversaries, you can celebrate in many ways. You do puja. You can sing the Sundarkand is a lot of fun. You know, pure devotion jumps across the ocean of worldliness to find the pure nature of consciousness and comes back to consciousness and tells him where she is located. There are so many things that you can do in celebration of a birthday or an anniversary. It could be a spiritual event. Here's a question from Dan. Namaste, Dan. I find that at birthday parties in my family, people only know how to overeat things that are unhealthy and drink alcohol. It seems there is no real remembrance of the sacred or celebration. Do you have any advice on how we can bring something more sacred into it that won't turn people off? Yes. Do you know, you could just say, hey, before we start drinking, I'd like to share a poem about birthdays. Or I'd like to share a poem about, here's some writings from Socrates that talked about what a joy it is to have an old age and a lot of years and a lot of wisdom. Here, light a candle. Place a flower. Give a blessing. Blessings always are fun. Dan, there's so many things you can do. Let them drink. Don't tell them not to have their glass of alcohol. And don't tell them not to eat overeat with unhealthy things, but tell them, while you're doing that, let's just acknowledge the presence of something greater. And so we're going to celebrate our birthday, we're going to celebrate our anniversary, but let's celebrate our family. Let's celebrate our togetherness. Let's celebrate that God is protecting us and watching over us. You will know what's appropriate for your circumstances.
Right.
Here's a question about children leaving the house and creating an empty nest. Is the time when the last child has left home the correct time for Banaprastha or sannyas? Not necessarily. You could become Banaprastha way before the last child has left the house. If the children are responsible, then you can leave the house in their responsibility. Kids, take care of this. If the children are capable, you can leave the business in their responsibility. I'm going away for 3 days. Let's see what happens if the business is still going when I come back. If the children are capable, you can empower them more by giving them greater responsibilities and coming back and coaching them on what they could have done to make it even easier or better or more profitable or more rewarding. So it's not necessarily chronology as to when to take Vanaprastha. It's a question of how much empowered the children are. If the children are young teenagers and they're capable of being self-sufficient, then encourage that self-sufficiency. And as they become more and more self-sufficient, give them greater and greater responsibilities. Should we downsize now that the children have left home? You could even downsize as the children are preparing to leave home. The first one goes off to college, and maybe you don't need an extra bedroom, you make that into a home office. And instead of working 8 hours a day in the factory, you could bring some of the work home and telecommute, or whatever the circumstances will allow. You can downsize at any time. But certainly when the children leave the home, it's a wake-up call for many people that, hey, I don't have the same number of responsibilities as I had previously. How does one make the best use of this phase of life? By increasing the presence of God in our lives. Increase our commitment, increase our sadhana, increase the spiritual journey. Enhance to the greatest extent of our capacity all things spiritual, and that will be the best use of our golden years. Om Sang Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.